All right, so Netanyahu says a different authority should control Gaza, right? Well, who? You? I mean, it's a quagmire. You're in it. There's no way out. How about some intelligent thinking around here? First is to admit you're in a quagmire. So then what do? You get the United Nations to police it? Well, you know what's going to happen there, don't you? So what happens there is they say, well, we needed a democracy if they were able to control it, and Gaza. And so they'd say we needed a democracy. And that democracy would end up leading to a Hamas, or at least a Gazan government, that then claims that Israel, whether you believe it or not, they will claim that Israel stole land from Palestinians like 50, 70 years ago, whatever it is now. And that Palestinians are being pushed into the margins. So where would you get this new authority from? If it's the United Nations, they will create a democracy that democracy will then say be the government that's elected will then say, well, we support what the UN says, and that is that Israel, it needs to stop pushing into these Palestinian areas with the settlements, and that I don't know what else the UN has said, but you go by what the UN says, it doesn't put Israel in a very good position. So if it's not going to be the UN, who is it? Not Israel. They can't do it. You're in a quagmire. You have to get the Americans involved. They're not going to do it. So this is why it's a quagmire. Nobody seems to understand this. You know, ceasefire negotiations. Yeah, with who? Who are you going to negotiate with? You just created thousands of new jihadists who are on the side of Hamas now by blowing up their babies, blowing up their fathers, blowing up their mothers, sisters. Right? So you blew a ton of people up. If that was my family, I think I'd make a vow to not stop until I have hit you back. I might not win, but I'd want to hit you back. So these methods you've used are absolutely primitive and like cavemen. Of course, it's been going on for centuries, but those days are over. Ask me what to do. You're not in the same league. The world you live in, Netanyahu, all you Israelis, all you Palestinians, everybody and everyone supporting either side, you're in a clueless universe. I'll explain some of that some other time. Ask me questions, but you're in a quagmire right now. You're not getting out. And it's not funny. I don't find it funny. I just find it bizarre that people can't see that. You're not going to have some kind of solution. You've created a mess of epic proportions. And that's another point. Over time, it's inevitable that other forces will be dragged into this. It cannot be just between Gazans and Israelis, because then it turns into an extreme police military state. I don't think that can survive. And if you do that, you're going to bring in all sorts of people, or all sorts of countries will start to say, well, we should do something about this. Arabic countries and others. So you're in a mess because you haven't listened to certain people over the decades. Just a blunderous mess because you, Netanyahu, are a very stupid man. There's no other way to put it. It's like your brain is made of cement. You're not even barely human at this point. You're too dumb. You're a Neanderthal at best. Sorry, but and there's a lot of people on both sides are a bit like that. So I'm not just picking on him, but he's the one with the power, and he's the one that decided to cause many problems over the decades, failed to listen to voices that were telling him the best way forward, and is just not in the same universe as me. I cannot agree that that person and people like that on both sides are in my universe. So I have no problem calling you dumb, clueless. And so that's as far as I'll take it today, but ask me about solutions. Because we're in a war for human consciousness right now, human mind. The mental state of the human race does not survive what's going on here, in this case, and everything else that's going around the world. it's it's a horrible version of humanity that comes out of what's everything that's going on. So the solutions are coming. I'll talk about that later and explain it.